Well, let's jump into the second part of the reunion of the worst season of Married at First Sight ever. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how two of these couples are still together. Hope that doesn't last long because all of the couples were atrocious this season. But anyways, we've heard the rants and the ravings long enough. Let's try to stay away from dwelling on the past too much and just gonna try to focus on talking about more of the new information that came to light. Otherwise, we're just gonna have a 7-hour video of me complaining about Lindsay and Isaac. So let's start off with the women when they all sat down with Kevin. It kind of seemed like Lindsay and Alyssa were having a feud, and that's just so uninteresting to me. Two people, I don't care, fighting. You know what the answer to that is? I don't care. I don't care if Lindsay doesn't like Alyssa. I don't care if Alyssa doesn't like Lindsay. Not even worth our time. We had Kevin say one line, which was a head scratcher for me, and that was when he was describing Katina and Isaac as a couple that just makes you smile. What? So now abusive relationships make Kevin smile. That's good to know, because that's not okay, that's not normal, and that is definitely not something that puts a smile up on my face. Aw, that man is being verbally abusive and emotionally manipulative to his wife. Doesn't that just put the biggest smile on your face, everybody? No, Kevin, no it doesn't. We're not all psychopaths like you, and we have a little empathy and compassion, and when we see someone mistreating their significant other, we don't get a smile on our faces. The women, they're all sitting there talking about Isaac, and anybody notice Katina just sitting there quietly in the corner, not saying anything? You know, we've seen that with her, sitting with Isaac as well, where he just talks and talks and talks and doesn't let her have a word. That is exactly what happened once again, even when he wasn't around. Lindsay saying that she loves feedback and is receptive to it. That, just like pretty much everything else out of Lindsay's mouth on this episode, was clearly a lie, and she's living in some fantasy world that the rest of us are not invited to. You know, we saw all season long that Lindsay, she just feeds off of conflict. She fed off all the conflict with Mark. She, like, all the things that she could hold over him, and it wasn't surprising to see her do that exact same behavior with the group of women. The guys, we don't have nearly as much to say about them. The only thing that really came up here is that Lindsay spit on Mark in their final fight, which like clearly you only do that to someone that you absolutely despise, loathe, hate, that you have no respect for whatsoever. And you know, Lindsay is that kind of person, so not very surprising. After that, everything else with the guys was just a recap and not interesting. The experts, we got a nice sit down with the experts where we heard a lot of BS. How they can think that they did a good job and that they believed in these couples. Like, I think at one point Pastor Cal said something along the lines that he thought that Mark and Lindsay were great together and were gonna make it. No, no one did. No one wanted them to make it. It's total BS, total garbage, and just went to show just how out of touch the experts actually are. We gotta sit down with each of the couples, Jasmina and Michael. I don't know if anybody else picked up on this, but very clearly to me felt like Jasmina and Michael were not having the same conversation. They were both seeing what the issue was from their point of view, which was completely different in both of their eyes, and then having a conversation about it like it was the same issue. That's part of what their issue was all season long, and really this kind of got the impression that their final fight was the exact same as their first fight of the season. So kind of they came first full circle. They had that first fight with those exact same issues. They had their last fight with the exact same issues, and then they head out their separate ways. The experts trying to kind of push them to get back together. No, just don't. Just don't. Let them go. Let them move on with their lives, and let's carry on. Chris and what's-her-face. Why even bring these two out? Why entertain them? Why have them as part of the reunion? You know, you want to give one shot of each of them, blah, 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 move on, fine. Don't fully entertain them like they were actually part of this, because very clearly Alyssa was out the moment she didn't get what she wanted. But it was interesting to hear that she told them not to match her if they didn't have the perfect match for her. And that is very interesting. So she said that to the experts, didn't get what she wanted, and then immediately left. It was very, very interesting, but still, she's a good person, so let's let that slide away. Mark and Lindsay, the experts, they were just, she noticed them just buttering Lindsay up before even talking to her, you know, smiles on the face, compliments to Lindsay. I didn't hear anybody saying, wow, Mark, you look great. Mark, you've lost so much weight. Mark, your suit looks amazing. But they were laying it on thick for Lindsay, because not even the experts wanted to have a conflict with her, and they wanted to be in her good books going into that conversation. Lindsay starts explaining things, and she's very clearly skipping massive parts of the story of what happened post-decision day. You know, her storyline was like, well, it was my birthday. Mark had an IOU for his present. I asked him about the present, and he told me that he was evicting me. Like, that was her timeline. Like, you don't think anything else happened in the middle there? Like, no massive blow-up fights, no you saying like vile, hateful things to Mark, like none of that is clicking in your brain. Just more repeated lies and omissions from Lindsay. And like, even in this conversation, we find out that Mark like apparently evicted Lindsay, but let her live in that apartment for 3 more months. Like, it's pure insanity. It absolutely is. Like, even her, like, trying to get the best angle to paint herself in the best light, she still looks like a manipulative, lying, horrible, horrible person. The experts, they seriously think Mark deserves blame for the failure of this relationship. That is irresponsible and reckless from these experts to be blaming him, because what we all saw, this was 100% Lindsay's fault. And that's not to say that Mark was this perfect person, the perfect partner, but he never even got a chance. And Lindsay, she might be the woman that has ever been cast on this show. Enough with them. Let's wrap this thing up. We had one final sit down with the entire group, and you know what? We're still going to be talking about Lindsay, because you know, they showed her, you know, being nasty and vile to Mark, and cut back to her and she's laughing. And then they try to follow that up with making her apologize to Mark, something that she 100% did not mean at all in any way, shape, or form. And then they tried to get her to apologize again, and she laughed at Mark during the apologies. What an absolutely trash human being. To cap off this trash season, we're done. We ain't coming back for the Where Are They Now. We'll be waiting till San Diego for the next season of Married at First Sight. Can't possibly be worse than this season, right? You know, even though it seems like we say that after every season, but this time, It can't be any worse, right? Well, with that said, I'm done for now. We'll see everybody next season. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we'll see you later.